Hey, welcome back. Another episode, y'all. So, big thing I've learned over the past couple of days, I've made a big change in life. I quit my job and I started to learn electricity, man. Got to become an electrician. Why am I becoming an electrician? Well, I almost died. I was fucking around with some cables. I wasn't paying attention, didn't turn off a breaker, and if I would have hit one of those live wires, and I would have been gone. And there would be no more videos, and all you guys will have is what I just produced. And so, upon that realization, I realized, holy bleep, I'm messing around with dangerous, dangerous stuff, and I'm not trained the way I need to be trained. And I value my life above all things because, shit, you got to kind of value your life. That's numero uno, survival. So, upon that realization, I had to do some big boys talk to myself, really look in the mirror, figure out what I wanted to do. And I always been talking about trades and how trades are going to be like the future doctors, future lawyers. Like these people are going to be paid ridiculous amount of money because nobody's learning, nobody's doing it. And since nobody's learning or doing it, let me grab some water real quick. That means when there's a shortage, there's always a huge demand. And guess what? People will pay a very high premium, especially for necessity when there's a shortage. So just for all the young people, man, learn how to get useful with these pretty soon. Because life is going to get a little bit more difficult. Well, life is always going to be difficult. And to be 100% honest, like this is really the easy time to be a human being, like compared to all the other times in civilization. Like we're not getting run up on by Genghis Khan. You don't have to worry about droughts and lack of food. You just walk to your grocery store. The only thing you have to worry about in this life is just how to make money. It has some basic survival skills. Learn how to plant some stuff, maybe hunt, fish. That will save you a lot of time. Or a lot of heartache if food shortages ever start to kick up. But what I realize is, as a man, you gotta throw away comfort, man. You have to throw the comfort away. I'm telling you right now, any comfort that you have not earned yourself, get rid of it. Get the hell rid of it as soon as possible because you're only going to make yourself handicapped in the future. And every day that you spend in comfort is another day that you lost the ability to actually build your manhood. And what I mean by that is, see, manhood requires hardship, it requires fear, it requires responsibility, it requires consequences for actions. And see, a lot of people get to live a life without real consequences. And because they live this life with no consequences, they do a lot of dumb shit. And here's the thing with dumb shit. It's compounding. So every day that you spend doing dumb stuff and not being productive and efficient in the manner in which you conduct your life, is going to cost you in time and energy. And you can't afford to lose time and energy for just dumb stuff. You can afford to lose time and energy for making mistakes, learning something productive, but you can't afford it for dumb stuff. Lord knows you can't afford it for dumb stuff. So that's what I kind of realized with that almost near-death experience. I had a couple near-death experiences now that I think about it, like this past year. A lot of just like, holy bleep, I'm in some shit. But anyway, what I've learned and what I was able to pretty much pick up from this is by removing the comfort of life, you open up a new avenue to your brain. So you got to think about comfort. What it does is it's like an insulator around you. And this insulator protects you from your reckless choices. So, and this is why trust fund kids have such a bad problem in the future, is because their whole life they were basically just living without consequences. They can spend as much money as they want to spend. They can break things. They can talk to people however they want to talk. And they never had to worry about things not working out for them because they had protection from the money and resources that their parents afforded them. And so since they didn't work for it, they had no appreciation for it. So if you get a free car, you got a nice bed, a huge TV, you have like maybe a little job, You don't have to pay any bills or anything. Like your lights are paid for, your food's paid for. You just get to live at home, and nothing is pressing or no urgency. What happens is you sink to degeneracy because it's like, what else am I doing? Everything's already taken care of, so I have free time to just do whatever I want. And so here's the thing: if you get rid of all that comfort, free time is a myth. Free time? What are you talking about? Free time? Since I started doing handyman stuff, I just got rid of all my free time. I don't need free time no more. My free time is me doing this. This is my free time. My free time is me working out, training, playing chess, reading, writing, because so much of my day is taken up with me being in discomfort. It's me carrying shit. It's me trying to build something. It's me trying to negotiate or do business. And this is how you need to be living your life as a man. I'm not saying you should never have fun. You should have fun, celebrate your wins. But like, if there's 24 hours a day, get your 8 hours of sleep. And then you got 16 other hours. Those other 16 hours, I would say 12 of them should be you just working furiously on whatever you're trying to get to, grinding whatever you're trying to get to, whatever goal. And the last 4, enjoy those last 4. Because guess what? You're going to appreciate those last 4. Because you spent 12 hours just grinding, working, taking care of business, moving the needle, growing your responsibility and workload. And so when you get those 4 hours of just free time where you get to just sit back and really think, you're like, oh, I enjoy the grind now. Like, I embrace it. And that's kind of where I've gotten now in my life right now, where I'm embracing the work. Like, I don't care about the results. The money is just a byproduct. I know the harder I work, I'll have more money. To be honest with you, sometimes I don't even keep count. I just go to a job, knock out these jobs. Don't even count the money. I don't even give a fuck about the money. Money is irrelevant to me now. All I care about is the work, the process, the math that I have to do in order to get this thing perfectly centered, correct, and with no mistakes. And so you start to live your life in a way more regimented function. Like I recently, to accommodate myself for the longer hours, not longer hours, but the earlier wake up time, I recently started waking up at like 4:30. And since I have to wake up at 4:30, I forced myself to go to bed. Like, I'm in bed by 9. And that was never a thing. Back when I was just doing my job and just have basic responsibilities, just like, okay, go show up to a job, show up to my desk, do some paperwork, do some things. Man, I would go to bed like 2, 3 o'clock in the morning. Then wake up, because I started at 11. Wake up, get to my job at 11, get a little workout in before, and just sit down. And I would go hard at my job, but I would run out of stuff to do. So most of the time, it's just me kind of bullshitting around. So it's like go hard for like an hour and a half, 2 hours, get everything done. And then once I got everything done, it was just basically, all right, well, let's do some self-improvement work. I'll be on the computer typing, looking at things, watching things. But there was no sense of urgency. That's what I could feel. Like I felt myself slipping into this comfort trap where I would not work as hard as I needed to work because I didn't have to. Like my bills are all taken care of. I was getting paid a pretty good wage. I was doing side gigs on the weekend, taking care of business like that. But there was no urgency in life. Like I had things going, but it's like there was no appreciation because a lot of times in my job it's just like it's free time. It's like, what am I supposed to do? Like I have kids come in, I'll work with the kids. But fuck, from like 11 to fucking 4 o'clock was just, all right, chill at your desk. I'll take a walk around the building, jot some notes down, plot some things out, make some phone calls. But it's like you start to realize, okay, this is not like it's work, but it's not what moves your soul. As a man, like you're made to build. You're made to take things from a basic zero foundation and build them up into something that can be useful for society. And that's such a spiritual thing. Like all these TVs I mount, furniture and the things I put together, it's like a spiritual connection I have with these things. Like my tools, I have a spiritual connection with these tools. They mean something to me internally. Like this is my creation manifested through my mind, through my hands. And I had this one job in particular where I had to basically fix a bed, like a bunk bed that was too tall. So I had to saw the legs off, There's a ladder that went to it. And for the first time, like I really sat down. They're like, okay, let's just cut it. I'm like, no, you can't just cut it. You have to really plot this out and think, okay, what makes the most sense? And I'm thinking to myself, okay, what makes sense? What makes sense? Well, I can cut, and I'm mapping it out in my head. And I was like, holy shit. Like I develop a new ability. I have this new ability to like really mathematically think, plot things out, and then when you execute, it's very swift. Doom, 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 doom. Step, 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 step. And you're like, oh, this is the game. Like it's like I planned everything out. And then once I planned it out to a T, it had everything perfectly in order, in line. When I actually applied this in reality, it was so much smoother, so much easier, so quicker. And that's what people need to start to realize is why comfort is such a trap. Because comfort doesn't force you to completely think about what your choices are going to do in the future. So instead of just making moves, that's what I find a lot of people who have comfort, they're just doing shit, just moving, doing, and they're not thinking. And that's why you have to remove the comfort, because the comfort forces you to think. It gives you anxiety, it gives you fear, because there's darkness. You don't know what's coming on the other side. And when you don't know, you make sure you calculate and plot to a T to ensure that what I'm doing is going to work out to at least within a 90% completion rate. Because nothing's going to be perfect. I mean, you try to make sure things are perfect, but everything can't be perfect. But here's the thing. What happens when you have to have a job that's done perfectly? You don't get fuck ups. And that's what handyman and like the trades have taught me. Is like you don't get fuck ups. Those fuck ups cost resources, time, energy, and people get very mad about that shit. And so you try to make your life or your work essentially fuck up proof. And then you watch that translate into every other aspect of your life. So like the way I shop, how I drive, my conversations with people, it's like I'm plotting things out so far in advance that I don't have to worry. Like I know what to expect. It's almost like Napoleon Bonaparte. He had this interesting idea of how he used to run his campaigns, where he would make a map. So you say, okay, this is the fight. This person has this so many troops. I have this many troops. This is the landscape. So if I advance forward in this spot, what are the possible repercussions if this person does said thing? And then from there, he would branch off. Okay, if they do this thing, I have 3 or 4 avenues. And he will make this web of premeditative reactions to all possible actions their opponents can make. And so he's thinking 30, 40 steps ahead of the game of every possible thing she's doing. And he has a plan for each particular step. And he will relay that back to his workers or his whatever it's called, subordinates. And they will know exactly what to do in every situation. And that's why he will win wars so flawlessly. It's because he had everything mapped out to such a deep extent that almost nothing can beat him. And the only thing that got him caught up was a woman, which is kind of funny. Yeah, so he got caught up by a lady, and she was able to manipulate him emotionally, and that kind of screwed him over. But outside of that, he's pretty much flawless. And so that's what I'm saying. In life, you guys start to take away the comfort so you can behave in a much flawless manner to get things done. And that's really the secret of manhood. It's all up here. It's not about these. It's not about your dick. It's not about how pretty you are. It's all up here. This is where 99.999% of all your success starts. You got a little bit of luck, but even the luck is because you put yourself in a particular position. Like I look at myself now, like, okay, all this TV and all this stuff I'm doing is luck that I happen to live in an era that TVs like to be mounted and people don't know how to do it or they're too lazy to do it. But it's nice to know I put myself out here in this position. I went and took a risk, got a car. I quit my job so I can be able to go do these things whenever I need to do it. So it's interesting, man. So that's what I'm trying to tell people. You got to be a little bit more unsafe. And when I say unsafe, I mean just putting yourself out of discomfort. So whatever your parents did for you, get rid of it. Like, I mean, don't be stupid. Keep a car if your parents give you a car, but really appreciate it. Make sure you pay the note. Ask your parents, can I pay the note? Can I pay the insurance? Can I pay something on it? Because you just driving around in a whip that your parents pay everything for. You ain't going to appreciate that shit. You got a TV in your crib? Get rid of your TV if you didn't buy it. If you got a bed, get rid of your bed if you didn't buy it. And really, what I would honestly say is like, man, if you're a young man, get the fuck out the house. You don't need to be living at home. Like, I understand you want to live at home. You get to save money and you get to do stuff, but then it's like that you're not manifesting the greater version of yourself because you're utilizing your parents as a safe haven to shield you from the reality that, you want to be able to afford a home and you're not going to do certain things because you have a place to come stay. You got a place to live. And since you have a place to live, what's your, I mean, yeah, you're saving money to go get a place or whatever, but, and there's larger vision to it, but you won't appreciate as much. It's like you'll move in there, you'll be like, well, man, it's like how my parents did this for me. Which, I mean, your parents should help you out, but let them choose to help you out. You should take yourself out the equation and see what your parents think once you leave. Are they willing to help you out? But anyway, appreciate people watching, and I just hope that you take a message. Get rid of the comfort, man, before it gets rid of you.